Coach, taking a look at the film, Robo and Malachi seem to have a couple bad shots at the end of the game. Was in film or just rush their shots? Did you take a look at that with them, and how'd you go over it?
Didn't go over it at all. I didn't think there was any bad shots taken by them or rushed or anything. We're a team that shoots the ball pretty freely, and they have the confidence to do that. So I don't know if there's any particular point in time in the game where they were end up being bad shots. Maybe rushed, maybe, but not necessarily bad shots. So we always just talk about good shot, bad shot, and time and situation like that, just understanding that. But those two guys were kind of carrying us, and I think you get that sense of urgency coming down late in the game that you want to continue to make buckets to bring us back, and we just weren't able to do it.
The minutes for Robo, Malachi, and Beyonce, they're all around 33 right now. Is that okay with you? They're going to be able to handle the workload?
Yeah, I mean, those are veteran players that should be able to handle that with ease and everything. Is it too much, too many? It just depends on the productivity of other guys that can take some minutes away from them. But those guys are playing at such a high level in these first 7 ball games, so it warranted giving them the minutes, and I'm not worried about them not being able to handle 33 minutes a game.
And then for Idaho, Victor Sanders, Perrion, Calendray, 2 very capable guards. What have you seen from them on tape, and what do they do well?
Well, they score the ball extremely well. They put a lot of confidence, a lot of energy. They've gotten off to a great start, had a big win at Nicholls State, and traveled back before they play us. So they've been 2 players that every time we've played them, well, not last year, but certainly the first couple of times, they've kind of been a thorn in our side. So they're 2 really good players we're going to have to contend with.
Why do you think you guys were able to maybe figure them out a little better last year after losing the 2 years prior?
I think the biggest thing for us is that we were better at figuring out ourselves and where we were and how we wanted to play and those types of things. I think in year 1, they had a really good squad, really good club, and here I am, a first-year coach with the program, putting in a system. Year 2, we struggled as a basketball team, and they were really good again. And then in year 3, we started to figure some things out, and now we've had to reload at some spots, and they're a team with tremendous experience in understanding what they do and pick to win their conference. So playing them on their floor in a rival game is going to be a big battle for us.
I know you and Don kind of had that deal last year, the coaches for cancer. Have you guys become pretty close, just being kind of 2 D1 coaches on the Palouse in this kind of area? And do you see him often, I guess, aside from the games?
Not necessarily often. I mean, we cross paths if we're out at dinner or something like that, just because of the schedule of coaching and recruiting and all of those things. I've thought about venturing back down on his bench though again at the start of the game, just so he doesn't feel too lonely without me being down there at the beginning. So we'll have to see how that works out.
Are there any challenges to playing in that arena where it's kind of open and kind of in the middle of the football field and it's kind of different in a bunch of senses?
Yeah, I think anytime you change environments that are that drastic in terms of the change, the size, the noise, and all of that, there's an adjustment that needs to be made. We'll get a chance to go over on Wednesday during the day and shoot the ball a little bit. But those are changes also that you're going to have to make if you talk about being in an NCAA tournament, going into bigger arenas, and certainly if you're making it to an Elite 8 and a Final 4 type, you're in gigantic arenas. So it all comes along with it, and it shouldn't be that big of a thing for us to have to worry about.
Both you and the players on Saturday kind of talked about the lack of energy and focus coming into the game. When you watch the game on film, I guess beyond those things, what else stuck out to you?
I think those things contributed to everything. We didn't defend very well. We didn't run very well. We didn't shoot very well. We didn't move very well for whatever reason. Very lethargic, really not reacting early enough on any type of situations defensively. I thought we were late everywhere we went. And then you got a UC Davis team that played exceptional basketball. So with those 2 things going on, it put ourselves in a big hole, and a hole we weren't able to come out of.
What have you seen as far as Robo's shot? Has he tweaked that over the offseason to be able to shoot it better, or is it just kind of an expanded opportunity to shoot it more this year?
I think the biggest thing with Robo is just his stamina, his conditioning, and his confidence. His shot is exactly the same when he came in as a freshman. When I saw him in high school, he is a tremendous scorer, shooter. He's just gotten really confident now, and that has to do with, I think, feeling good about himself, feeling good about his body, feeling good about being in his junior year, and just having that confidence that allows him to he has green light, he can pull it at any time, and he does a tremendous job of stretching the floor.
And you kind of challenge him to take those shots, even when he does have a man on him with his wingspan, and seemingly no one can really block that shot.
It isn't necessarily challenging. I think he knows his comfort zone and really feeling like with his size, the guy closing out him on him will not bother him as much as say a guy maybe closing out on Daniels or somebody who's smaller than Robo. Robo has great size and great length as well too, so he gets an opportunity to really get that shot off and really not be bothered by it, no matter where it is on the floor. If it's a 15-footer, if it's a 35-footer.
What have you seen from Milan where some of his struggles have come from? Is he rushing himself? Is it kind of just a freshman phase, trying to get his feet wet right now? Or?
I think if you go back and look at tape on Viante Daniels and Robert Franks, you can see how much they struggled as freshmen. Even Malachi hit the wall and struggled as a freshman. And just because you're in a program in redshirt, it's different when the bright lights come on and the accountability is in place, having to play every possession, having to understand the game at every possession at any time. And you run into some teams that got veteran players. I think all of this is just a learning experience of somebody that hasn't played at this level. In fact, he was shut down for a while, going through 2 knee surgeries and everything, even coming out of high school. So it's just going to take him some time. And in time, he will figure it out, just like those guys have figured it out. You don't know when, but the key thing is to be patient with them.
Coach, your team has, even after the loss, you're still in a very good spot schedule-wise. What are the successes, or what are some of the keys to success for this upcoming game on Wednesday?
Well, I think for us, without giving away, obviously, game plans and everything, is being able to handle being on the road, handle being in a rival game for some of these guys. That's going to be a first for them. This is a team that they run a lot of sets. They're very good at what they do because of their experience. They can go second, third options on sets. So you're going to stay disciplined and defending them. And then I think for us, it's just playing with a lot of confidence. And when we play with confidence, we're a tough team to deal with when we're shooting the ball and we're playing with that kind of what I would call passion that we played with down there in Anaheim. And hopefully we've gotten back to that in the last day or so of practice.
Perfect. And you kind of touched on a lot of what you just said, but are there any other strengths of the Idaho basketball team that you guys are preparing for this Wednesday?
I think the biggest their strength is their experience, and when you have experience, you have confidence, and you can score and you can beat people. They've gotten off to a great start. They're a veteran basketball team that's picked to win their conference. They're one of the top teams in the country that assist per possession, just in terms of running plays and getting their scoring out of an assist. That tells you again they know how to read and they understand what they're trying to get done. So they're going to force us to be accountable defensively, and that's a good thing because it'll force us to play up.
How important is it to find that third score? The last game it showed where you have Malachi and Robo catching on, but the rest of the team was 3 for 20 with just 6 points.
I was surprised at Viante's game because he's played so well and shot the ball so well. And it is important to have that third score. And I like to even have that fourth score on the floor as well, too. We've had games where Jeff Pollard down in Anaheim played well. Viante Daniels played well. They gave you a third and fourth score. We've had games where Carter Skaggs has played well. So as we continue to tinker with lineups, tinker with combinations, tinker with rotations and things, we're not where we're going to be yet until we can find what that happy medium is of who can start the game and put points on the board, who can close out the half, who can close out the game, what's your best defensive unit to put on the floor, your best free throw shooting unit to put on the floor, your best ball handling unit to put on the floor will be dictated in terms of what's going on in the game. So as we continue to get through this preseason, we're starting to understand even more so of who we are, how we want to play, and hopefully where that third consistent score and maybe even fourth consistent score will come from.
And then Milan Aqua's shooting form, was that ever an area of concern with you? It seems like he's struggling with his shot right now.
I don't really worry about people's shooting forms as long as the ball goes in. I thought he was a really good shooter coming out of high school and was able to score, and even on the summer circuits and things like that. Again, when you start talking about confidence and stepping up to this level and having to play with the bright lights are on, it's a lot different than being in practice. It's a lot different than being in high school. It's a lot different than playing AAU summer ball. This is an environment that the team's going to hold you accountable. They're going to come after you. They're going to make you play to your weaknesses more so than your strengths, and they can do a lot with your own psyche. So all of that is a development stage of guys understanding what it takes to be successful at this level, and in time they'll take care of itself. And I'll point, case in point again, I'll go back to Robert Franks. Look where he is today compared to look where he was. He couldn't even get off the bench his freshman year, and then came his sophomore year. He helped us, and he had flashes, but now all of a sudden here he's in his junior year. Let's go back again to Josh Hawkins. In his freshman year, he averaged 2 points, 5 points a game. All of a sudden, his sophomore year, he takes off. Junior, senior year, he ends up on an all-time double-double list in the history of the conference. So don't judge them on where they are now. Judge them on where they're going to go down the road when you've coached and they understand the system and the confidence is there, the development is there, and all of those things.